This is TWiT.
So this is kind of positioning stuff. There are a zillion distributions already out there, and I think it's amazing to me that more keep coming along. And you've got one of them. And so one question is it a replacement for CoreOS? And sort of related is somebody in the back channel says, we have this already with Linux Mint for noobs and Arch Linux for power users. So there's some niche you're trying to fit into that's none of those. So tell me when you're selling it to somebody who says, I'm already looking at Mint or Arch or whatever, or CoreOS, whatever the others are.
I've already heard that question. It's a bit hard to provide a final answer, because indeed VanillaOS can be the solution for multiple purposes. There are also been at scale users that explain me their need, their daily usage, and I was the first one to tell them VanillaOS is not for you. Because it was a so high level usage, in meaning as expertise. So those users are actually doing operations directly on the kernel and stuff like that. And I was the first one to tell them, don't use VanillaOS. You don't have the freedom to reach that low level in the system as you have in other distributions and whatever you prefer. Is a replacement for CoreOS? I don't know, depends what you do. Is a replacement for Arch as a power user? What you're doing exactly? I may just tell you yes to sell you vanilla, but the truth is what you're doing daily, what you need to do. Because if it can be the solution for most of the users, whatever is the distribution they come from, it for sure is not a proper distribution for a certain type of users. So,
Sorry, I have a kind of somewhat related question, because again, these are conceptually very different from, let's call them the usual type of distro. So immutable, this concept is fairly new. It's still very new to me, the immutable distros and the benefits and whatnot. I wondered can you tell me, and for everybody else out there who probably finds this new, how do you address vulnerabilities and bugs that's different from the usual way of doing that?
I introduce you one of the updates of VanillaOS 2.0. Right now we have, so little step back, we have AB root. AB root is a two partition system. You have two physical partitions on the disk where two exact copies of the system are living. One partition is the one you booted in and is the system you're running, read-only. The other partition is your past or your future, depending on what you're doing. Is your past until you need to apply changes on the system? Is your future in the moment you apply changes to the system? For example, you install a driver update. The driver update is not installed on your current partition, that is read-only, but is installed on the future partition, that is the one that you are not using in this moment. The installation is performed in an atomic way, so there is a transaction, an overlay is created, everything is executed. If all the commands exit with code 0, then the transaction is success, the changes are written on disk on the future partition, and whenever you are ready to reboot, you are going to boot in the future partition because grab entries have been updated. This is the core concept, but indeed are two exact copies of the installation. With 2.0, we are trying to, and we almost succeeded, to switch to OCI. So the update you are receiving for your system to update drivers, to fix bugs, to address vulnerabilities, and so on, are, let's say, containers that are extracted to your root partition. I'm simplifying as much as possible. I don't want to go too much in detail, but this is basically what's happening. So whatever there is the need, this is another change between following Ubuntu's release and switching to Debian seed to be precise. We are going to release whenever we believe it's required to release. And with this OCI system, we are providing you, indeed from Docker Hub or our hub we are going to run, I don't know yet, an update of the image of the system. And you are going to receive it and installed in the AB root style. So there is a transaction. If everything goes successfully, is written on disk. When you, user, are ready to reboot, at next reboot, you will find your system updated. For any reason you are not happy with the update, you just simply reboot and select the previous partition. So you are back before the changes that you don't like. You may not like them because something changed, because some problem rises up even if the installation was successful. It can be whatever reason you have. You simply reboot back to the previous state. And you may force another update or install other stuff. This is going to be handled, replacing the content of the partition having the installation you don't like anymore, let's say like that. And about updates, I'm picking what Shawn said earlier about powering on the system and finding changes that he didn't like. This is where VSO, the vanilla system operator, enters the game. We changed how we update the system. Most of the systems use PageKit. PageKit, it's used in Debian, Ubuntu, and many other distributions. This is checking for updates. It's downloading updates, is pre-installing updates. Then when you reboot, you are going to reinstall those updates, and you are then going to reboot again. Then, depending on what has been installed, you reboot 1 time, 2 times, or you don't have to reboot. It's really a little mess. So VSO, what does is checks weekly or monthly. You can select it in the options. If there are updates. If there are updates, then it checks, is the computer in a condition where I can download and install the updates? How is this check done? What's the network status? What's the CPU load? What's the RAM load? What's the user, the average user? I'm on a laptop. Okay, I'm on battery. I'm on power cable. What's the condition? Can I download the updates right now and install them right now? Yes, I'm in the condition. So the updates are downloaded, are installed in the background with the AB root transaction in the future partition. The next time you reboot, because you wanted to reboot, you have the already updated system. You don't need any more reboots. You don't need to wait on doing stuff because there is a process running in the background that is making your PC slower or whatever. We take care of all the process for you. And we want that you reboot only once, the next time you want.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. The most tech-savvy people in the world serve in the military, and deciding how to transition to civilian life can be difficult. Before 2030, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported IT will add over 667,000 positions. Choose a career to support your goals with ACI Learning. Visit go.acilearning.com/twit today.